everybody, welcome to Drive Thru Review 587. Today we're going to take a look at Honshu. This is a brand new game coming out now from Renegade Game Studios. It's kind of a multi-part game. We've got sort of a trick-taking aspect and then a tile-laying aspect, although you're using cards. So you're going to be playing cards from your hand, sort of bidding on them in a way, and bidding with certain colored cubes that you're going to generate from the cards that you're then going to place into kind of your landscape and grow different cities and rivers and all kinds of stuff into your area. So it has sort of like a real basic kind of Sim City type of feel as well. So let's jump into the mechanics and then I'll tell you what I think of it. Okay, here's everything you're going to get in the box. The first thing to note is each of the players will be dealt one of these starting cards, and these have an A side and then also a B side. You'll decide collectively as a group of players if you want to use the A or B side. Let's just use A for this example. So you're going to take and put this in front of you, and then each player is going to be dealt a hand of 6 of these cards. And these are very similar to your starting card. They've got different layouts and things. You're going to notice different sort of terrain features, lakes, woods, cities, and so on. And then you've also got numbers which are going to come into play as you play the cards. So you're going to start with 6 of these in your hand. And then you're also going to shuffle up and deal out one of these special goal cards. And these are going to give you kind of extra ways to score points in addition to the points that are described here on each player's scoring card. So you can take a look here. We'll just go over this very quickly. I'll go over it again at the end. But all the forest squares are going to give you 2 points each. You're going to look at your largest contiguous city and get 1 point for each square in that largest city. You're going to be able to ship these goods to these factories, and you get a certain number of points based on the factory. We'll go over that some more. And then you're going to score lake zones, and you can see the first tile in each, or excuse me, square in each lake zone is worth nothing, but then after that they're going to be worth 3 points each. So that's kind of your basic scoring combined with the special bonus scoring. So let's go ahead and set up a little bit. So here we've got cards laid out for 2 players, and what you're going to do is you're going to take these turn order cards equal to the number of players. So in this case we'll just do the 2. You shuffle these up to start the game and then deal them out, and that's the order that players are going to play cards, at least to start the game. You're also going to notice here, if we zoom in just a little bit, you can see these little squares here on both of these cards, and players will start by putting a matching cube of the color in each of those squares, and these are resources that you're either going to use as you play cards to kind of beef up the value of the cards, or you're going to want to keep these, like I said, to ship to factories at the very end of the game. Now here in the middle, we just randomly dealt one of these bonus cards here, and this one allows you actually to ship 2 cubes to a factory. Normally you can only ship 1. So that's our special bonus. There's a variety of these different bonuses here. You can see they all come with different numbers there, and you can reference those in the rule book to better explain what the iconography is. They're all pretty straightforward. So how the game's going to work, like I said, everybody gets 6 cards to start, and then in turn order you're going to play cards. So let's say we're player 1, we would play this one here, that would be a 36. We'd put that in the middle of the table, and then maybe here player 2 would play a 39. So in turn order you're going to play cards, and then you're going to look at the cards and the value, the number of the card that was played, and you're going to reset turn order. So in this case 36 to 39, well 39 was higher, so they'll go first, and then 36 will go second. And then you can choose from any of the cards that have been played. In a 2-player game it's very straightforward. You just pick one of the 2 cards, but you can play up to 5 players and you'll have a lot more choice. So he would now get the first selection, and maybe he would choose Billy's card or choose their own card. And then when you take a card, you're going to attach it to your realm. Let's say they wanted to take and keep this card, and then they would go and attach it. Now the other thing that you can do, as you play a card, at the time that you play it, you can take one of your cubes, any color, if you're the first player to do this, and put that with that, and that's going to bump up the value of the card by 60. Now all the cards go 1 through 60, so you've effectively, quote unquote, trumped the value. So you put this out and it's 60 plus that. So other players can do that as they play, but they must match the color that you put out. So the first player to put out a cube like that can kind of set the tone and maybe gauge what other cubes people have available to them. If they really want to keep this card, or maybe they're playing a little bit later in the turn and they really want a card that had previously been played. So you can also accompany that with a cube. And then you're going to walk it down, do the orders, and then attach the card. Now when you attach the card, it's very simple rules. You have to cover at least 1 square, or you can also tuck the card, but you have to at least tuck one square like that. Now in this case, we might want to just go and do this because deserts are pretty much worthless. And now we're starting to build this contiguous city here, because remember I said you get 1 point for your largest city for each square. So this automatically here we got 4 points. We've also got a forest available. Those are just worth straight 2 points. Maybe the next card that we get, we would come over here, and this would be a tricky one to place. Now if you place it over a cube, that cube's going to go away. So you don't want to play on top of the cube until you've actually spent it. Once it's spent, that space is kind of a dead space. Let's say we had spent that earlier. We'll go ahead and play this here. Now this gives us the start of a lake. Now you can never cover a lake or stick a lake underneath anything like that. So that's one thing to remember. And you also notice that some of these places here have new square spots. So here we would have gotten a new brown cube, and then over here we would have gotten a yellow and a gray cube. Now if you notice over here is a factory here with this little star. So we kind of want to keep this yellow cube until the end of the game and not spend it to bid for cards. Then at the end of the game you can take 1 cube from each matching color and put it in the factory, and you'll get this number of points. They go up to 2, 3, and 4 points. But you also remember that this particular goal here allows you to actually ship 2 cubes. So we can actually get another yellow cube out. Let's say we went ahead and played this card at some point. We'll just put it here randomly. And so now this would give us another yellow cube, which we can then ship because of the special bonus goal here. We can have 2 there. So it gives 4 points. So you just keep doing like that. So after you play through 3 of the cards, you'll have 3 left. You're going to pass the remaining 3 to the player on your left. You get the other 3 from the player on your right. You're going to play those out and then draw back up to 6 total cards again and play 3 more. And then once you've played 3 of those, you're going to take those remaining 3, pass those to the right, get the other cards from the other player on the right. So you're going to play a total of 12 cards, and then you're just going to total up all the points. Again, let's walking through the scorecard. 2 points for any forest that's visible, 1 point for the largest city for each square. Then you get again your points for the factories. In this case, we're going to get extra points because of the card. And then again, the lakes, you try to build that out, and you can get quite a few points, well, in all these different ways. But the lakes can also start to add up, but they're a little bit tricky to build. And that's really the rules of the game. Very, very straightforward. Okay, so that is Honshu. It's a very, very quick game. It takes about 30 minutes. The box says 30 minutes. And I think once players are familiar with it, there's no question that you can get it done in 30, maybe a little bit more with up to the 5th player. It's very, very simple. Obviously, you just play a card and then you grab whatever cards are out there that are left for you to grab and try to attach it in the most optimal way in terms of points, with a little bit of planning for the future, because you don't want to crowd out a city that you could grow and grow and grow. You don't want to position the lakes in such a way. You never want to cover a forest. You want to try to have some cubes for bidding, because you want to be able to, bump up the value of your cards so you can get the best choice. But you do want to keep cubes back so you can score some of the factories, especially some of the 4-point factories. And again, the bonus goal card, which is randomized every game, is going to add a little bit of information there in terms of what's best to do. The game should be not very interactive, and a lot of parts of it aren't, because you're just kind of building your own little city, doing your own thing, and trying to build your own points. But when you get to the possibility of sort of bidding with your cube and bumping up or trumping the trick that's being played, that gets interesting, because then you're looking at what other cubes people have, which ones they will be sort of more okay with giving away because they don't have factories for them, and then looking at the value of the cards, because some cards are certainly better than others, and that's going to change based on how people have shaped their cities. So you do 100% need to be aware of what's going on and all that kind of stuff. I think for that reason, this is probably best at the 3 and the 4 player count. Once you get up to 5, there's just a little bit too much going on. I mean, not in a negative sense, just in the sense that I can't keep track of it. And it's probably not worth trying to keep too much track of once you get to that higher of a player count. But you want some more variability, so it's going to be a little bit better than the 2 player playing with the 3 and 4. So it's very benign in a lot of ways, but it's also very pleasurable and easy to play. And it has that one thing that really has struck me more than the game has than I can really remember, is it has a kind of the perfect play length, the perfect play time. It's right at that half an hour. It doesn't wear out its welcome. It's interesting all the way through. And it certainly has that kind of escalating arc where the first couple of rounds are like, yeah, whatever, I'm just putting cards down. I'm just kind of trying not to hurt myself in future turns, kind of letting the game come to me. But then definitely after that kind of first hand of 6 cards, then you're starting to see where you can maybe do a little bit of a hate drafting and kind of cut somebody off at the legs a little bit, in terms of like, okay, they can add this card, that's going to give them kind of an out for their city or an out for the lake and that kind of stuff. That kind of stuff really starts to come in. And then the AP gets like a little bit more and more, but then just as it maybe gets too much AP and it's not really worth worrying about too much in that last turn or two, then the game's over and then you're able to resolve it. So it has that perfect filler length with that good arc and escalation of terms of what's going on, keeps you more interested and just kind of sucks you in as you're playing the game. And then it's over. And then it's definitely easy, something that you can play like back to back at a lunch hour and that kind of thing. So I definitely recommend this game. It's got a nice look to it, and it's going to have a good amount of replayability, for this kind of filler game, and I definitely recommend it. So definitely take a look at Honshu. Thanks.